Director of the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Devon, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Mr.Viren Mohan, Mr.Sfiso Mnumzana Magaye, Mr. Piyush Kandelwal. Ladies and gentlemen, namaskar. Welcome to our 16th episode of our program, Antartaan, the Inner Tone. Today we have two wonderful musicians from KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Viren Mohan, who is a music and the singer, who's a music and the singer, and also we have Mr. Sfiso Mnumzana Magaye, who's also a musician and a singer. Today, they are taking part on our wonderful program called Antartaan. They will be having an interactions on Inner Tone. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to invite Mr. Viren Mohan and Mr. Sfiso Mnumzana Magaye to start their interactions on Inner Tone. Over to you guys.
Namaste, everyone. I'm Viren Mohan.
Sanibonani nonke, igama lami nguSfiso Mnumzana Magaye. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening, Sfiso.
Good evening, Viren. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. And yourself?
I'm good. I'm not complaining.
Okay, that's excellent. Yeah. Musicians don't normally complain. We sing it out.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Definitely. Yeah, we can't be complaining.
No, we can't.
We can't be complaining.
All right, as long as you have the music in you, life goes on, okay? Look, Sfiso, it's good to meet you. And look, I do understand that music, we come from different cultures of music, but as you know, music is universal and speaks to anyone and everyone. So look, there's a few questions that we'll dialogue to each other. So, okay, question number one is, what is your inner tone or internal rhythm?
Thank you so much, Viren, about that. I think, as you've rightfully stated, music is universal. It cuts across cultures, language barriers, or any other barrier. When there's music, you are able to connect with the person that that is in the music at the time. To answer the first question, what is inner tone? What is inner tone, inner rhythm? I would say, if I were to answer that, I would make an analogy of saying, for me, an inner tone, I look at it as conscience. When you look at conscience, for instance, an example, there's an old lady who just drops a 50 rands, and then inside you, there's that thing that tells you, okay, take the 50 rands and give it back to the old lady. If you do that's a conscience. I think the inner tone as well, it serves the same purpose as the conscience, but now in music. When you hear a sound, or when you hear a rhythm, or when you hear anything, it tells you how to respond to that. It gives you a melody, how to sing, or it gives you a rhythm, how it should sound, how it should be frequented in terms of the rhythm as well. So for me, an inner tone is a voice that dwells within you, which responds automatically, well, it would seem it responds automatically to whatever other sound that comes from externally, but the inner tone stays inside of you. And then I think the inner rhythm, it's just the same thing. It's just that the inner tone, it encompasses everything, the melody and the rhythm, as well as the timing of that sound that you're hearing. Whereas the rhythm is just specific, it speaks of the rhythm. Otherwise, it's just the one and the same thing, I would say. Yeah. But then what do you think an inner tone is to you?
To me, an inner tone would be versatility within. Sort of an inner tone would be like, should I say, a lamp that burneth from within, attracting souls of the darkness to that light, rather than being the darkness traveling to the light. So an inner tone to me would be basically a light that burneth from within, shedding light throughout the darkness, rather than being the darkness and seeking the light. So in music, I'd say similarly, an inner tone must burneth from within, spreading light all around.
Yes.
That's the way I would interpret my inner tone.
Okay.
All right. Okay, we have question number 2, which is, how do you get it in your musical practice or performance? How do you get your inner tone in your musical practice or performance?
I think the inner tone, because I said the inner tone already exists within you at this stage. So how do you get it into the musical performance? I think it responds automatically to the sound and the surroundings, or any issue of interest, an issue that you're interested in. The inner tone responds automatically to that. So you don't say, now I'm going to exercise my inner tone, but it automatically exercises, it gets to be used, gets to be included in your performance, even when you are doing something that is something that is practiced, it's systematic, it should be done in a specific way. Then whilst you're doing that, your inner tone will kick in where necessary, where it seems fit, where it deems fit, automatically. So you don't say, okay, now in that section, I'm going to use my inner tone. In that section,
think about it. Yes.
The script, but it just it happens when it happens. If the inner tone is developed, it will know where to come in. Yeah, that's what I would say. And what would you say?
Okay, I think we are on the same wavelength in terms of the answer to your question. Whereas if somebody had to ask me how would I use my inner tone in my musical practice or performance, it's something that I don't think about. It happens automatically. It happens all by itself, it takes over. So that's what I say about my inner tone, being used in a musical performance, because seeing that I have a great passion for singing, a passion is not something that's thought about. It comes on its own, automatically. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question, number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel and experience it?
How do you feel and experience it? I think, I'm not sure if we should be feeling an inner tone. I think, yes, experiencing it, we experience it, because obviously you are singing or you hear something and then automatically it happens. Then my inner tone is at work now. Some people would call it your like if you were to study music, they would say ear training. So, okay, you hear this chord and therefore that chord automatically you know what notes to sing. Okay, that means, okay, your ear training is developed. So even with inner tone, you hear a specific chord or a specific sound or a specific rhythm or anything, and then your inner tone, you experience it because by it just kicking in and being at work at that time, that's how you would experience it. But I don't think you necessarily have to feel anything. Have to feel it. Obviously, you'll feel something and then you respond to that. But I don't think you'll need to feel the inner tone itself.
All right.
What would you say?
Okay. I'm going to have to disagree with you a little bit on that there in terms of the feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
With no hard feelings though. But look, when it comes to experiencing or feeling the inner tone, I'd say, like, for example, if a song is being played, feelings come from within, which spark up, emotional sort of feelings, So that's where I'd link the feelings into. in terms of it. So basically, if you're listening to a sad song and you begin to tear, it does, you know, touch up on your feelings. So that's basically it for me. All right. Question number 4. Did you feel that you are also an instrument to feel and experience or invoke this inner tone from within?
I think yes. I would say yes. I would say yes. I am an instrument to evoke the inner tone within me as well. Like if I'm experiencing anything, there are things that I would do haphaz or like anyhow, not thinking of anything. However, whilst I'm doing them, they would evoke the inner tone in me. Or yeah, what I'm trying to say is that the inner tone can be evoked by anything. Even I can evoke the inner tone within myself. Yeah, basically, yeah, I am an instrument that can also evoke an inner tone within me. Yeah, and you, what do you say?
Yes, well, I'd say being a singer, yes,
Yeah.
I am an instrument. It's just that an instrument that throws out words rather than just sounds.
Yeah.
So if I'm performing with a band, for example, we get musicians around me with musical instruments creating sound. But being the singer, I'll also, you know, consider myself as an instrument, you know, delivering the entire performance to the audience out there.
Okay. Yeah, yes,
right.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I definitely agree.
Okay. All right. Question number 5. Do you feel that this inner tone gives you a sense of assimilation and absorption into the universal energy, which is unlimited and infinite?
Yes. Yes, I think our conversation, this conversation, we started it by saying music is a universal language. I think I'd go back to that. Yes. The inner tone is not limited by any. Music itself is not limited by geographical orientation or cultural background or anything. Music can cut across any sphere. So if I listen to someone singing in Hindi, as much as I do not understand a word of Hindi, or someone singing in whatever other language that I don't even understand, I still relate. I still get absorbed to that emotion. And to that feeling, even though I don't quite hear what they're saying. However, because music is not just the words, it is the words with the melodies as well as the rhythms. You understand? So some rhythms in nature are very sad, and some are quite happy, and some melodies as well are quite sad or happy, or however the emotion, whatever emotion. So basically, I don't need to hear. It would be great to hear what you're singing about, but I don't necessarily have to hear what you're singing about for me to be connected to you while you're singing. So basically, I would say my inner tone as well is not limited to me hearing someone playing a conga drum or playing an African rhythm. Therefore, it is activated, and therefore I can compose over that. If you can sing, you can play whatever instrument from whichever country. My ear tone can still be activated, and I'll be able to sing on top of that, even if it's the rhythm and the melody or the scales that I'm not familiar with. So it's not limited to what I'm exposed to. It's not limited to what I'm exposed to. It gets to work throughout. Yes, I think you develop your inner tone on a specific genre. Like as an African man, I develop my inner tone mostly in African music. But when it starts to work, it is not limited to that. It can work even in some music that I've never heard of. That's what I would say.
Excellent.
And what do you think?
Well, talking about infinity, I agree with you on that, being a singer as well, because as long as I have that inner tone and the ear for music, even if I'm listening to any type of music, be it African music, Indian, Spanish, French, Chinese, Japanese, whatever, it's universal. And that's what actually absorbs in terms of infinity when listening to any type of music. And that actually draws my inner tone outward. So, yes, that's it. All right. Question number 6. Do you feel that your performance is not done by you, but something greater and bigger than you is supporting you as a power or energy when you are singing or playing an instrument?
I feel, okay, I'm a Christian. So whenever I go into performing, before I go there, I pray that may the Lord cover me and may his will be done through me to the people that I am going to be, because, you know, the audience is filled with many people with different needs. They're there with problems. Others are there to just give thanks. Others, variety of things that people in the audience are experiencing. So when I pray, I also pray that may God use me as an instrument, because more than me entertaining people, I want to, when I leave a performance, leave people being healed, leave people having, being enlightened more. So yes, I do feel at times that, okay, now in that performance, that specific performance, or in that specific part of the performance, it was not, it was beyond, it was above me. It was now God in control. He actually was at work at that point, even though I would want him to be in control all the time. But there are moments where you'd feel, okay, even when I'm not sure about anything else, but I am definitely sure that in that specific moment, it was not me singing that. It was not me ministering at that point. Yeah. So I would say yes. And I feel it should always be like that. It should never be, there should never be a point where you go onto stage and you become yourself, and then and up until you leave the stage. You know, you should always allow God, especially as a Christian, I should always allow God to use me, the one channeling through me with the message of the day.
Absolutely. I understand exactly where you're coming from in terms of that, explanation.
Yeah, but how would you answer that question? Do you feel that there's some superpower that is at work whilst you're performing?
As much as many people may not want to believe me, but yes, the answer is yes. Because the explanation to that is, generally when I do speak, my voice may not be as loud, I generally have a soft voice when I speak. But when I am on stage, there's people that speak around me saying that, this guy has a loud voice as such. But generally I don't have that voice. And of course, when I am singing, it's like something uplifts me. The confidence comes from, I don't know where, but it's all around me. It's like an aura that's there with me on stage, uplifting me, So yes, I do feel that there's a greater power supporting me in this all the way.
And to add on that, I think as well, we always refer to music and singing as a gift from God, or a heavenly gift. Yes, so if you were to say, whenever you use the gift that you are given by someone, definitely that energy, the energy of that person who gave you the gift is always activated at that point. So us being musicians, believing that the being able to sing, or the gift of music, is a gift actually from God. It means every time we get to sing, or we get to exercise our gift, we are channeling that energy, the very same energy from the one who gave us the gift. So definitely there would never be a point where a singer sings and then they're not channeling, God is not at work, even when they're not singing about God. There's
Yes,
always,
absolutely.
that's what I believe in. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like even in our Hindu culture, we have deities, and if you look at Mother Saraswati, she is the mother of education, culture, and music as well. So yes, we respect that, as a gift from God as well. All right. Look, next question is how do you feel? Yeah, how do you feel synchronization of inner tone with expectations of audience or organizers of the event? How do you feel synchronization of your inner tone with the expectations of the audience or the organizers of the event? Basically, if you're performing at an event, how do you feel your inner tone is synchronized, with the audience out there?
No, I do. Yeah, I do get the question. I do get the question. I think, okay, there are two sides to this.
Yes. Okay. Sorry?
I'm sorry.
We're having a bit of a connection problem here.
Sorry, I was saying there's somebody called me and I was saying, I feel on that question, there's a reality and there's an ideal world. Ideally, as a performer, you should not be worried about what the organizers think, because for the mere fact that they booked you, it means they liked what you're doing. 100%. So all you need to do, all you need to do when you get a gig is just be yourself and work on being yourself even more. Work on, because obviously as a singer or as a musician, you have a vision. This is where I want to get to as well. God using you as well. You have that plan drawn out. That has nothing to do with the. You didn't know that you were going to get a gig from this organizer. You didn't know that you were going to be entertaining or performing for this kind of audience, but you already had a vision or already had a plan of where you want to go with your music. So that's where I would say we should aim for sticking to that all the time, and not be worried about pleasing the organizer or pleasing the audience, but at all times worried about being true to ourselves and being true to our vision and goal. But then the reality is, obviously, sometimes you get swayed away and want to entertain the crowd and have that round of applause. But I think that's a challenge that we should be working against, to say, okay, I am not, as much as I'm here to entertain, obviously we are in the entertainment space. However, I have my vision. And the organizer booked me because they already know that I can do that job and they want me on this job, and therefore I should work on me without me trying to please them. They are already pleased for the mere fact that they booked me. Just the same goes for the audiences. The nice part about the audience is that they buy to your honesty. If you're honest on stage, they will buy into you, even when they don't, even if they came to the show not liking that style of music or the genre. But if you perform it as honestly as possible, as you can possibly perform it, the audience will be drawn in and they'll respond positively to it, and therefore you have now won new audiences. So I would say let's work towards not having that having the expectations being hanging over our heads like a carrot over over a rabbit. But let's just work towards just being ourselves and sticking to our true plan. And what would you say?
Okay, look, that's a very positive note that came from you there, because when I just started my musical career, look, I wasn't very, used to the audience and, comfortable. So I used to always wonder about, what the audience, how do they see me? But as time went along, I did learn that I placed myself in the audience's position and looked up on stage and realized that, it's me that's on stage and not them. And then I did realize that, they are there to focus on me, and I'm there to just do my best. And that's the point I've reached right now. So when you really, when your inner tone is invoked, automatically it spreads out to the audience, and you radiate that kind of light towards them. So eventually, it's not something, as you said, it's not something you should be worried about, you know. Or, your inner tone will take over the entire event as such. So that's the way I
so.
All right. Okay. Question number 8.
Okay.
Did you feel a conflict between your inner tone and outer expectations of performing or presenting?
I think there'll always be. I think there'll always be us now. What we've just spoke about, what we've just spoke about. I think attest to the fact that there'll always be that fight between the two, which an artist must always try to avoid. I feel that as an artist, you should always aim for, as I already said, sorry, that you should always aim to be true to yourself and being true to the message that you ought to give out, and not try to do. Not try to anticipate what the audience is actually looking for now. The one story that I've just been drawn to when I started singing at the level, professional level, I heard people saying, if you have vibrations and vibrato on your voice, it's a no, don't do that. It's terrible. And then years later came this beautiful woman, Simpiwe Dana. Her music is on vibrato. As like when she ends a phrase, she vibrates, there's a vibrato. And then people who got drawn to her music. I love her music. And everybody else got drawn to her music, which actually gets to prove that if you do yourself, if you can do even the things that you were told, and I don't know, people will still be drawn towards you. So definitely, we definitely need to try to manage the outer expectations with the truth, with our truth, and say, yes, in terms of singing and what the people are expecting, this is what they're expecting. But in terms of my truth, my music, I feel my sound should be going this direction at this point. I'm not sure if I really covered the question correctly. I feel like I was still stuck on the previous question. I feel there will always be conflicts between the inner tone and the people's expectation. You know what? To add on to what I said, I feel people will always expect you to give you what they want you to give them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes it will come to what I would call bullying you into sounding like somebody they like. And then you end up feeling the pressure of compromising who you are just so that you can get more gigs. Because obviously, if the audiences loved you this gig, that means you'll get more bookings, and if you can perform more and therefore make more money. But you're not being true to yourself, true to who you are and to what you stand for, and therefore, so there will always be that conflict. You say between inner tone and outside expectations, but I also say it just the conflict between making money and being true to the art itself.
Yes.
And what do you think? Do you think there's conflict? There's conflicts between inner tone and expectations from the outside?
From the outside. Personally, I've experienced that many times where, like for example, in the Indian music, there's different genres of music. Like you get Bollywood, you get classical, you get ghazal, you get film songs, all of that there. So in the audience, you get a versatility of people that are sitting in the audience. Now, when you're doing a song, for example, if I'm doing a song and that song is particularly, as I said, maybe a ghazal, right? A ghazal is a poetic kind of a song. And then just say, for example, 50% of the audience are more of Bollywood kind of listeners, you would have that conflict. There definitely is conflict internally, knowing that, your inner rhythm is now, at a state of panic, knowing that, what, these are the listeners I have here, and this is the song that I'm doing. But you'll come to a point, and as a singer, you are quite sensitive on stage when you're judging the applause, the way the people are reacting and stuff. And you look out for all that. You may not show it, but you pick that up instantly. Did I get this much applause in my last gig? That I'm, that kind of thing. And then, yes, I'd say that there is conflict. There will always be that conflict. But it's for you to use your inner rhythm at its best, always. And eventually, you'll develop a great amount of fans out there. For example, if you take a big name star, like maybe, let's use George Benson, for example. If he comes to do a concert, he has, a packed audience, because those are all his fans. Yet there may be millions out there that may not be his fans, but he still has a great amount of fans that's big enough to support him and give him that confidence.
Yeah,
right,
I feel as artists, that's what we should be working towards a point where we feel confident and comfortable in our own sound, and as well knowing that sometimes you're not gonna get the applause that is ego boosting, but what should gives you comfort is the fact that you sang, or you passed the message as authentic as you possibly could. Because sometimes, as you said, you'd get booked into a gig where there's a lot of, for instance, in my case, a lot of Afro pop audiences, and you're singing Afro jazz, jazz, and people are not there for jazz. You can see the vibe. They're just here to dance and be happy. And now you're coming with your jazzy stuff, and you kind of, and then you feel threatened, you feel intimidated. That okay, cool. Must I change my repertoire? Must I do what? Must I try compromise? But I think we should work towards getting to a stage, as you rightfully pointed at George Benson, or even at Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu doesn't compromise. She sings Erykah Badu wherever.
Absolutely, yes.
Either you take it or you leave it. If you book Erykah Badu, you know what you're gonna get. She's not going to come now tomorrow and be sounding also like Ciara. No, she's not going to do that. She's going to come and be Erykah Badu all the time. I think that's what we should work towards achieving as artists.
Absolutely. Yeah, to sum it up in one word, I'd say we need to work towards originality, being ourselves as an artist. Not like, not working towards sounding like somebody else,
Definitely. I think on that one, we would be glorifying God even more, because obviously God created us, each and every one of us, as unique individuals, and made us to be unique from each other. He made you have something that I definitely do not have, so that I can feed from you on what you have, and then you can feed from what I have that you do not have. So definitely being yourself, being your true self, is actually another form of worship to God. That's what we should aim towards.
Yes,
definitely.
As the saying goes, life is God's. Yeah. Sorry? As the saying goes, life is God's gift to you. What you make of your life is your gift to God.
Your gift to God, definitely. Yeah.
All right. So now we have the final question.
Yes.
Okay. What is your goal or aspiration to achieve internally through your journey of music?
I think, as we have just said, I think what I would love to achieve internally in my journey of music, with regards to an inner tone, is to develop an inner tone that is confident enough. Be confident enough to believe in my inner tone, and understand that I'm not meant to sound like somebody else. I am not meant to look like somebody else. I'm not meant to be in a certain way. I am meant to be me. and be comfortable in that, because that is what will make my music stand out at the end of the day. When I stand out as an individual, when I listen to what comes from inside of me, that doesn't come into anybody else, that will make me stand out. You know, when you go into business, they tell you that you need to know your unique selling point, your USP, for you to be able to make it in the industry. I think as artists we should be sold that line as well, that you need to have your USP, your unique selling point, and that is what I'm working towards, to be confident in who I am, confident in my unique experiences which have shaped who I am, and then be confident enough to share it with the world, because that's what the world doesn't have. If I'm sharing with the world Jay-Z's story, I'm sharing something that they already have. They already know what that's Jay-Z's story. Hence, I know Jay-Z's story. But if I'm sharing Sfiso, then I'm sharing something that they don't have. And therefore, they will gravitate towards it, because now they're hearing a new story. They're hearing my take on social ills. How do I feel about social commentary? So they're hearing my own way of my own interpretation. So that's what I would say I aim to achieve as a musician, as a singer, as a human being.
Awesome.
What?
Okay, my interpretation. Yes.
Yes.
My interpretation of that question would be, well, my aim would be to spread the light throughout the world as far as I can for the time that I'm going to be here through my musical journey. A perfect example would be if you take Bob Marley, for example. Yeah, the day before he passed on, he was going to have a live concert free of charge for as many people to come there, just to bring about the word of peace. But unfortunately, that concert didn't take place. The fact that concert stuck in my mind, you know, it also, you know, generated the thought of me having to spread my my music throughout as far as possible as I can, using my inner tone to the best of its ability.
Yeah.
So that, yeah. All right. And
ladies and gentlemen, that was Sfiso Mnumzana Magaye and Mr.Viren Mohan. You know, when they were talking, there are so many things that they think alike, you know, like the point of originality. You know, if all musicians can dwell on the point of originality, do what you know the best, do what you know the most.
Absolutely.
You know, don't get taken by so many things. If you know this is my type of music, stick on it. So I like when these two wonderful musicians agreed on this point of originality. So to Virenji, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And to Sfiso, Mnumzana, Magaye, Baba, thanks. It was very interesting, you know. I think the time allocated was not enough because I saw the flow between you. There was a flow, you know, nice, smoothly going on flow, Virenji, and also Usfi. So there was a flow. Hopefully, again, next time, with the permission of our director, Dr. Yogi, we will invite you again to continue on this nice gelling conversation that you had this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to introduce the Jugal Bandi. Jugal Bandi is whereby our guest artist, Mr. Viren Mohan and Mr. Sfiso Mnumzana Magaye will give us a nice music item. Please enjoy. Over to you guys.
Hey, bayakhuluma abadala nansi indaba, vula indlebe yakho uswe uzophila ngayo le ndaba. Isezithebeni indaba. Isezithebeni indaba. Mamela uswe uzapila nayo le ndaba uqondise inyawo zakho ngamazwi abadala isezithebeni indaba isezithebeni indaba. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks. Over to you, Viren.
Fantastic one. चाहूंगा मैं तुझे सांझ सवेरे फिर भी कभी अब नाम को तेरे आवाज मैं न दूंगा आवाज मैं न दूंगा चाहूंगा मैं तुझे सांझ सवेरे देख मुझे सब है पता सुनता है तू मनती सदा देख मुझे सब है पता सुनता है तू मनती सदा मितवा मेरे यार तुझको वार वार आवाज मैं न दूंगा आवाज मैं न दूंगा चाहूंगा मैं तुझे सांझ सवेरे.
Lovely, lovely, Gatun. I love it.
Thank you.
Good music. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful song. I'm interested to know what it means. You're definitely, it is like this. Okay, I'll tell you this. I've always wanted to know how to do those notes or those riffs that Hindi music does.
All right, it's a good question because I actually teach that to many pupils, but look, I teach whatever I know. They're called sargams. For example, you get notations. Yeah, I'll translate it into English. Like, for example, in Western music, you get do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I'll give you an example on the harmonium, right?
Yes.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, do, ti, la, sol, la, mi, re, do. Right? Right. So translating that into Indian music will be sa. It's the same note but a different name, right? Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, sa, ni, da, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. Now, if you're looking at, if you're wanting to know about those slurring,
crescendos.
Yes.
How do you do that? That's what I'm interested to know. How do you do that?
Okay, that comes with a lot of practice, right? It's like I'll explain it to you quickly, but I'll sum it up. You picture a plastic bottle filled with water, right? Picture this.
Yeah.
You're pressing the bottom, but as you press the bottom, the water shoots out through the top. But if you press it slowly, the water will shoot out. So as you press it, like this, continuous, the water will shoot out accordingly. Similarly, you're singing from your stomach, right? The control comes from here. Even though your vocal cords are here, but the control comes from here. For example, if I'm singing a note, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, sa, ni, dha, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. Now I'm saying the notation, sa, each name. But if I'm going to use the ah syllable, and I'm going to do this,
Okay.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. You'll do very well.
Yeah, definitely a great technique. I'd definitely love to learn it. I'm sure Mr. Viren will give me your numbers so that I can actually take lessons. Because
Sure,
obviously,
we'll exchange. We'll work.
yeah,
Yeah.
So that I can be exposed or be introduced to your space. And because I don't believe anybody meet anybody by coincidence or just for the
No
day.
way. Sure.
And it's always for a greater purpose. And specifically for this one, I already know I've always wanted to be interested. I've always been interested in that the clishandos that you put on the notes. So now I'm not gonna let you go without you teaching.
No way. And I'd like to learn a lot from you as well. We'll work hand in hand, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future. And maybe we could probably do a gig or maybe a recording together in time.
Definitely. Let's put that in motion because I'm interested for real.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your music with me. And I wish you all the best.
All right. Okay. And you as well. God bless you. All right.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was wonderful performances from Mr. Viren, Mohan, and also Mr.Sfiso, Mnumzana, Magaye. So these wonderful souls, we like to say thank you very much. We really enjoyed your performances this evening. So to you, Virenji, Daniel, to ubaba uSfiso Mnumzana Magaye, siyabonga kakhulu baba ukuthi ube nathi. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program this evening. On behalf of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban, it gives me a great pleasure today to deliver a vote of thanks on our 16th episode of the program, Antartaan in a Tone. Allow me to thank our online guests who participated this evening, Mr. Viren Mohan, musician and the singer from Durban, South Africa, and also Mr. Sfiso, Mnumzana, Magaye. Thank you very much. We really enjoyed this piece of program that you did this evening. So to Virenji and also to Usfiu Magaye, Siyabonga Sfiso, uphile kakhulu, to director of the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Mr. Piyush Kandelwal. Thank you very much for being with us this evening. To our online participants, we like to say thank you very much for being with us this evening. For more information on cultural activities organized by Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center in Durban, please visit ICCR in Durban Facebook page. Once again, to our online guests, Viren Mohanji, thank you very much. To Sfiso Mnumzana Magaye, Siyabonga Magaye, Siyabonga kakhulu Ndosi, Bonga kakhulu. To all of you, have a wonderful evening. Namaskar.